All right, this one is another hot take one that I know Mr. Suarez has a very strong opinion on, so I'll let him answer this one too. So, how do you create a portfolio, Joe, when the organization that you work for owns the projects you designed? Do you need to make changes to it?
Right. So, the first thing we should say off the bat is when you're working full time for somebody or even on a contract basis, the things that you're creating are owned by that organization that you're creating them for. And unless it's something that's public facing or it's some type of nonprofit or something, chances are that that's not yours in a way that you're really able to show off as your own on your own website. So yes, it is a challenge. If there is something you worked on that's public facing, and you can get a link to that. So for example, I worked at a healthcare company for 7 years. Pretty much everything I made was proprietary, can't show it off. But there was one time where we created some customer facing training videos, and I think those are still actually up on YouTube. And I can link to those and say, here's an example of what we did to create some software tutorials. So there's that. Repurposing the content to completely remove the branding of the company, anything that can remotely be proprietary is another thing you can do. And then, just a little bit of tough love. If you're looking for work, I'd say it's a full-time job to find a full-time job, like when you're searching it like that. So part of your work in doing that job search is creating your portfolio. And if you have to redo some things from scratch, or if you create something that wasn't something you really worked on previously, then if that's what you feel you need to do, going back to our original question, to highlight the skills that you have and you want to show that off in your portfolio, then that's what you need to do. And the people that go above and beyond to create stellar portfolios in that way are the people that are going to rise to the top and get the good jobs. So if that's what you want, you got to put the effort in to make it happen.
Agree, and I'll give a little side story from a hiring perspective. So I was reviewing portfolios. I had a role open on the team, had someone with an excellent resume, like a real nice depth of expertise, really excited to get them in the door, sit and get their portfolio over. Looked at their portfolio. They had done consulting for the Department of Defense, and the first thing that I opened had full flight plans and flight blueprints of these planes. And I immediately went back to our recruiter and I said, I don't want to continue. Well, that person didn't like that very much and then contacted us and said, well, but why? I have all this experience. And I told them, I said, well, you have proprietary information in your portfolio. And I said, the industry that I work in, manufacturing tech, it is very, very competitive. My current non-disclosure agreement that I have is way more wicked and vile than what I had when I was at Amazon. So if I were to hire that person and they leak the secrets on how we create what we do, the types of things that we make, etc., it would be my head on a platter. And so why would I want to take that risk? So hopefully that person kind of learned their lesson. But here's another kind of perspective on it. I think it's great to talk about the results that your products have had in the workplace. I think a lot of people don't talk about that enough. But when it comes to portfolio, my question is, why would you want to have your current work stuff on there? There's so many constraints and so many no's and so many things that hinder you from probably putting your best work out there. Why don't you want to take like the walk in, what I'm going to call the Willy Wonka chocolate factory of building your dream project and making it anything, no matter what you like. If you like I like camels, why not make an e-learning about camels, or things that you do? Because what I love about that is I get to know your personality as a hiring manager. And it's not all this vanilla robotic stuff of, oh, this is a compliance course, oh, this is this. But I learn a little bit about your personality and things that you value. And it makes you really more memorable as a candidate. And it makes it a little bit, to me, more exciting. I don't know what you think about that one, Joe.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that at all. And I don't really have anything more to add to it.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. But if you need help with maybe things to get started, I'll give a plug for this. And I get kind of mad because I feel like this person gets no credit for this. Because I see people share that all the time. That's made by Kristen Anthony, who is incredible. So I always say, if you share go design something.co, credit her. She built that. Took her time and talent to build that. Say it's Kristen Anthony's. Sorry, little sidebar. Okay. All right. So I love that she's put this together like little prompts. But the other thing too is, there's other ways that you could approach it. Besides a dream product, it could be something like, solving an issue in your community, solving an issue that's impacting you, something like that. So hopefully that is helpful there. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
That just made me think of something else, which is you can create content like e-learning courses for a nonprofit or, as a volunteer type situation. So that's another way that you could create something with real world use, and then it can become a portfolio piece.
All right. Yes. And Sixto has some good advice there about not using the names or whatnot. So Jenny Johnson on LinkedIn just remade her portfolio, I guess, for the new year, and it looks fantastic. And I was just like looking through it, and she had a Beyond video that she'd made for a client, but she ended up changing the name of it. So she changed the name of it to, I think, like Lola's Pizza Company or something. Then she even denoted in the portfolio, this name has been changed to protect the client. And I think that's a nice way of handling it too. What do you think about that?
I like that. The only caveat with taking that same course and changing everything and then is if I see that, if I were a hiring manager and I saw that, my first thought would be, that's great, but that you're, following the rules, so to speak, and not showing anything proprietary from your former employer. But how did you get that file to make those changes? Right. Transferring that file from your work computer to your personal computer to make that happen. Yeah, that's a little sketchy.
I agree with that. That's a whole nother topic. If you have access to learning technologies through your company owns that. And I think it's a very fine line if you use company assets for your own freelance business. And in my mind, I think that's a no-go. I think that if you can't purchase it on your own or have your own equipment, maybe you're not ready to freelance. I'm sorry, that's a real hot take, but
yeah. And I'll just add too that there's an even further difference between, okay, I'm someone who has worked at a few organizations in the past or just one, and now I want to work for another organization, and here's my portfolio that might have some work from a previous employer with names and faces changed, to now I'm a freelancer and I have my own business, and now I'm trying to promote my services with my portfolio that shows that stuff from my previous employer. That's an even further line that you shouldn't cross.
Agreed. Yeah, it's there's no easy answer for a lot of this stuff, and there's going to be some people that tell you to do it one way, there's going to be some that tell you to do it another way. This is just our advice. Take it with a grain of salt. Okay.